The letter that changed everything, Tony Stark, the guy who built an empire out of steel and swagger, standing alone in his penthouse, staring at a letter that could unravel everything he's ever known. One sentence on that page makes his blood run cold. The man who destroys me won't come from my world. He'll smile like a friend, but carry nothing but darkness. Who wrote it? Why is it in Tony's hands? Stick with me, because this gets wild. So picture Tony in his New York penthouse, the city skyline glowing through the windows. It's late, maybe 2 a.m., and he's not in his Iron Man suit for once. He's just a guy holding this worn-out envelope, no stamp, no return address, just his name scrawled in shaky handwriting. The letter's from someone he never expected. Father Michael, a priest he met years ago at a charity event in Brooklyn. Yeah, that Father Michael, the one who rebuilt St. Patrick's Cathedral's outreach program, the guy who seemed to know everyone's secrets but never spilled a single one. He passed away a week ago, and now this letter shows up, like a ghost knocking at Tony's door. Here's the problem. Father Michael wasn't just some random priest. He was digging into something big, something about hidden forces in the church, people wearing crosses but acting like wolves. Tony's no saint, but he respected the old man's grit. The letter says Father Michael tried to expose these people and failed. Worse, he says they were watching Tony now. Don't open your mouth, Tony, it warns. The shadows are closer than you think. Creepy, right? Tony's used to threats, Hydra, Thanos, you name it. But this feels different. It's personal. It's like someone's already in the room with him, just out of sight. Now, Tony's not the type to sit around spooked. He tears open the envelope, and there's a second page handwritten, almost frantic. It's a prophecy, or at least that's what Father Michael called it. The one who brings the end won't fight with swords. He'll wear kindness like a mask and leave the world empty. Tony reads it again, his jaw tight. He's thinking, what's this got to do with me? I build suits, not sermons. But then he remembers a night, years ago, at St. Patrick's. Father Michael pulled him aside after a fundraiser, looked him dead in the eyes, and said, "You're not just a hero in armor, Tony. You're meant to carry something bigger." At the time, Tony laughed it off. Now, he's not so sure. Here's where it gets intense. Tony's standing there, letter in hand, when his phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. "You were warned." His heart skips a beat. He checks the security cams. Nothing. Jarvis scans the penthouse. Clear. But Tony knows better. Someone's playing a game, and he's not about to lose. He grabs the letter, stuffs it in his pocket, and heads to his lab. If Father Michael thought Tony was the guy to carry this truth, then he's going to figure out what it means, no matter who's watching. What would you do if you got a letter like that? Something that made you question everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious. This is just the start, and trust me, it's about to get crazier. Hit that subscribe button to catch what happens next. The shadow in the frame, Tony Stark's in his lab now. The glow of his holographic screens lighting up his face. But he's not building a new suit. He's staring at a photo, a grainy old snapshot from that night at St. Patrick's Cathedral years ago. It's him and Father Michael, laughing in the church garden. But there's something else. A shadow in the background, barely human, watching them. Tony's gut twists. Who the hell is this? And why does it feel like they're still watching? So Tony's in his Stark Tower lab, the heart of New York City humming outside. It's 3 a.m., and he's got that letter from Father Michael spread out on his desk, the words burned into his brain. The man who destroys me will wear kindness like a mask. He's trying to piece it together, but this photo's messing with his head. He zooms in on the shadow, hooded, faceless, just standing there behind a tree. Jarvis runs a scan, cross-referencing every database Tony's got. Nothing. No match. It's like this figure doesn't exist. But Tony's not buying it. He's faced ghosts before, and this one's got a pulse. Here's where it gets heavy. Tony remembers that night at St. Patrick's. It was a fundraiser, all glitz and glamour, but Father Michael was different. He didn't care about the spotlight. He pulled Tony into the garden, away from the crowd, and said something that's haunted him ever since. "You're not just saving the world with tech, Tony. You're meant to save its soul." Tony thought it was just an old man's ramble, But now, with this photo and the letter, he's wondering if Father Michael saw something in him, something Tony's been running from his whole life. The problem? Tony's not alone in this. Another text pings his phone, same unknown number. You can't outrun the truth. His jaw clenches. He tells Jarvis to trace it. Dead end. Whoever's behind this knows how to hide. Then he finds something else in the envelope, a tiny folded note he missed before. It's Father Michael's handwriting, shaky, like he wrote it in a hurry. They're not just in the church, they're in the city. Check the old Brooklyn warehouse on Pier 17. Tony's mind races. A warehouse? In Brooklyn? That's not some holy sanctuary. That's a place where deals go down, where secrets get buried. This is the moment Tony decides he's done playing defense. He grabs his jacket, tells Jarvis to prep the suit just in case, and heads out into the New York night. The city's alive. Sirens, neon lights, the pulse of a place that never sleeps. But Tony feels like he's walking into a trap. He's not just Iron Man anymore. He's a guy with a letter, a photo, and a warning that's starting to feel like a ticking bomb. As he steps into the elevator, he mutters to himself, Father Michael, you better be right about me. Have you ever felt like you were being watched? Like someone knew your every move? Tell me in the comments, I want to know. This is getting intense, and Tony's about to walk into something he can't unsee. Subscribe now to find out what's waiting for him at that warehouse. The truth in the dark, Tony Stark's standing in a rundown Brooklyn warehouse. The kind of place where the air smells like rust and secrets. It's pitch black except for the faint glow of his phone, lighting up that cryptic note from Father Michael. Check the old Brooklyn warehouse on Pier 17. Then he hears it, a shuffle in the dark, like someone's watching. His heart's pounding, but Tony's not backing down. What's hiding in this place? And why did Father Michael send him here? So Tony's in this creepy warehouse, Pier 17's docks creaking outside, the New York skyline a distant shimmer. He's got no suit, no Jarvis, just a flashlight and that letter burning a hole in his pocket. The place is a maze of crates and old machinery, like it's been forgotten for decades. He's thinking about Father Michael, the priest who saw something in him nobody else did. Back at St. Patrick's, the old man once told him, heroes don't just fight battles, Tony. They carry truths nobody else can. Now Tony's wondering if this is the truth he's supposed to carry, or if it's gonna bury him. Here's the problem. This warehouse isn't empty. Tony spots something, a metal box tucked behind a stack of crates, locked tight with a cross etched into it. His gut screams trap, but he pries it open anyway. Inside, a stack of papers, yellowed and brittle, and a single black and white photo. It's Father Michael, younger, standing in front of St. Patrick's. But there's that same hooded shadow from the other photo lurking in the background. Tony's breath catches. This isn't a coincidence. These papers, they're reports, names, dates, all pointing to something called the Order. Sounds like some secret society nonsense, but the details chill him. Missing priests, silenced reporters, and a trail leading right back to New York's elite. Then it gets worse. His phone buzzes again. Another text. You shouldn't have come. Tony spins around, flashlight cutting through the dark, but there's nothing. Just silence, thick and heavy. He stuffs the papers in his jacket, but as he turns to leave, he hears it again. Footsteps, slow and deliberate. Someone's here, and they're not playing games. Tony's no stranger to danger, but this feels different, like the shadows themselves are closing in. He mutters, all right, Father Michael, hope you're watching, 'cause I'm in deep now. This is where Tony's resolve kicks in. He's not running. He grips the photo, the one with that hooded figure, and makes a call to Pepper. I need you to dig into something called the Order, he says, voice low. And don't tell anyone. As he steps out into the cold Brooklyn night, he knows he's onto something bigger than he ever imagined. Something that could shake the city to its core. But Tony Stark doesn't back down. Not now, not ever. Ever get that feeling you've stumbled onto something you weren't supposed to know? Share it in the comments. I'm dying to hear. This is getting wild, and Tony's just scratching the surface. Subscribe to see what he uncovers next. The ghost of truth, Tony Stark's back in his New York penthouse, but he's not sleeping. He's got those papers from the Brooklyn warehouse spread across his desk, names and dates screaming secrets about the order. Then his screen flickers. A video call from an unknown source. A distorted voice says, "You're digging where you don't belong, Stark." Tony's pulse races. Who knows he's onto this? And how far will they go to stop him? It's dawn now, the New York skyline turning gold outside Stark Tower. Tony's been up all night, coffee cold, eyes locked on those documents. The papers talk about missing priests, hushed-up scandals, and a network of power stretching from St. Patrick's Cathedral to Wall Street. The order isn't just a church thing. It's got roots in the city's elite, people Tony's probably shaken hands with at galas. He remembers Father Michael's words from years ago, in that quiet garden. The truth isn't always loud, Tony. Sometimes it's a whisper you can't ignore. That whisper's roaring now, and it's got Tony's name on it. Here's where it gets messy. The video call wasn't a prank. The voice, low and mechanical, said something that hit Tony like a punch. Father Michael trusted you, and look where it got him. Tony's mind flashes to the priest's funeral, the closed casket, the rumors of an accident nobody questioned. He pulls up the photo from the warehouse, that hooded shadow lurking behind Father Michael. Then he notices something new, a faint reflection in the church window, showing a symbol like a cross twisted into a knot. Jarvis runs it through every database. Still nothing. But Tony's not stupid. This symbol, this shadow, it's all connected to the order, and they're circling him like sharks. The problem's bigger than Tony thought. He calls Pepper again, voice tight. "I need you to check every charity tied to St. Patrick's. Look for that twisted cross symbol." She hesitates, asks if he's okay. He lies, says he's fine, but he's not. Another text hits his phone. "Stop now or you'll end up like him." Tony's had enough. He's not just a guy in a suit. He's Tony freaking Stark. He heads to his lab, starts pulling every favor he's got, from old SHIELD contacts to hackers he knows in Hell's Kitchen. If the Order thinks they can scare him, they're about to learn who they're messing with. This is Tony at his breaking point, but also his strongest. He's not just fighting for himself anymore. He's fighting for Father Michael, for the truth the old man died for. As he steps into his Iron Man suit, the repulsor's humming, he whispers, "You wanted me to carry this, Father. I'm carrying it now." The city's waking up below, but Tony's heading into a war nobody else can see. What would you do if you found out someone you trusted was silenced for knowing too much? Drop it in the comments. I need to hear your thoughts. This is getting darker, and Tony's about to face the fight of his life. Subscribe to catch what's coming next. The weight of the cross. Tony Stark's in a dark alley in Hell's Kitchen, the Iron Man suit hidden under a long coat, chasing a lead on the Order. He's clutching a new clue, a pendant with that twisted cross symbol, found in a package left at his tower. But then he sees it, a figure in the shadows, hooded, just like the photos. Tony's heart stops. Is this the enemy Father Michael warned him about? Or is it something worse? It's midnight in New York, the city's pulse thumping through the grimy streets of Hell's Kitchen. Tony's been running on fumes, tracking down every name tied to the Order. The pendant came with a note, unsigned, just like the others. "You're closer than you think. Meet me at the old chapel on 10th. Tony knows it's a risk, but he's done playing it safe. Father Michael's voice echoes in his head from that night at St. Patrick's. "The truth will break you before it sets you free, Tony." He laughed it off back then, but now it's like the old priest knew this moment was coming. Here's the problem. The chapel's a trap. Tony steps inside, the air thick with dust and candle wax. The place is abandoned, pews cracked, stained glass shattered. He spots the hooded figure at the altar, silent, holding something, a book, maybe a ledger. Tony calls out, "You've got 10 seconds to tell me who you are." No answer. Then the figure turns, and Tony sees it. A smile, cold and empty, just like Father Michael's prophecy. "You're not the hero here, Stark," the figure says, voice like a blade. "You're just a pawn." Before Tony can react, the figure's gone, vanishing into the dark, leaving the book behind. This is where it hits hard. Tony grabs the book, pages filled with names, dates, and deals, all linked to the order. But one name stops him cold. Howard Stark, his dad. His hands shake as he reads. His father was tied to these people, funding their schemes decades ago. Tony's whole life, his legacy, his name, it's tangled in the same darkness he's fighting. He sinks to his knees, the pendant slipping from his fingers. For the first time, he feels small, like the weight of this truth is too much. "Why me, Father Michael?" he whispers. "Why'd you pick me?" But Tony's not done. He picks up the pendant, clenches it tight, and stands. He's Tony Stark, genius, fighter, survivor. If his dad was part of this, he'll tear it down himself. He storms out of the chapel, the city lights blazing like a challenge. The Order thinks they've got him cornered, but they don't know Tony. He's not just carrying Father Michael's truth, he's making it his own. Has something from your past ever shaken everything you thought you knew? Share it in the comments. I'm all ears. Tony's at a crossroads and the fight's just beginning. Subscribe to see how he takes on the Order. The fire within Tony Stark standing on a rooftop in Manhattan, the city's lights sprawling below like a battlefield. His Iron Man suit's humming, but it's the pendant in his hand, that twisted cross, that's got his blood boiling. He's tracked the Order to a penthouse in Midtown, but what he's about to find isn't just a fight, it's a truth that could burn everything he's built to the ground. Who's behind this? And can Tony stop them before they break him? It's 1 a.m., New York's skyline a mix of beauty and danger. Tony's got the book from the chapel, its pages pointing to a meeting tonight. Big players in the Order, right here in the city. He's hacked their comms, pinpointed the location, a sleek penthouse overlooking Central Park. But it's not just the mission weighing on him. It's his dad's name, Howard Stark, tied to this mess. Father Michael's words keep looping in his head from that night at St. Patrick's. "You'll carry the light, Tony, even when it burns." He didn't get it then, but now it's like the old priest saw this exact moment. Here's where it gets insane. Tony crashes the meeting, repulsors blazing, expecting a room full of suits and secrets. Instead, he finds one man, older, polished, smiling like he's been waiting. "You're late, Stark," he says, voice smooth as whiskey. This guy's no thug. He's powerful, someone who pulls strings from the shadows. He calls himself the Shepherd, and he knows everything. Father Michael's letter, the photos, even Tony's dad. "Howard thought he could control us," he says. "You're no different." Then he drops a bomb. The Order isn't just about power. They're reshaping the world, using faith as a mask to empty it of hope. This is Tony's breaking point. The Shepherd pulls out a photo, another one with that hooded figure, but this time it's clearer. The figure standing in Tony's lab weeks ago, watching him. Tony's stomach drops. They've been inside his world, his home. The Shepherd leans in. "Smile gone. Walk away, or you lose everything. Pepper, your company, your legacy." Tony's suit powers up, but his mind's screaming. He thinks of Father Michael, the casket, the truth he died for. He thinks of his and flawed but his blood. "You don't know me," Tony growls, stepping closer. "I don't walk away." The fight's brutal. Drones swarm the penthouse, glass shatters. Central Park glitters below as Tony takes them down. But it's not just physical. It's personal. Every hit feels like he's fighting his dad's mistakes, Father Michael's ghost, his own doubts. He pins the Shepherd, demands answers, but the guy just laughs. "You're too late, Stark. The shadow's already here." Tony looks out the broken window, and there it is, a hooded figure on a distant rooftop, watching, then gone. He's shaking, but he's not done. He grabs the Shepherd's files, rockets into the night, and vows to end this, no matter the cost. Have you ever had to fight for something bigger than yourself, even when it hurt? Tell me in the comments. I want to know. Tony's in the fight of his life, and it's not over yet. Subscribe to see how it ends. The light in the shadow, Tony Stark standing in the ruins of St. Patrick's Cathedral, the place where it all began. His Iron Man suit's battered, the twisted cross pendant clenched in his fist. The Order's final move is here, And that hooded figure from the photos? It's real, it's close, and it's got a name. Can Tony end this before it ends him? Or will Father Michael's truth die in the dark? It's dawn, New York waking up. But inside St. Patrick's, it's like time stopped. Stained glass lies shattered, pews overturned, and Tony's alone, except for the figure he's been chasing. The shepherd's files led him here, to a secret chamber beneath the cathedral, where the order's been pulling strings for decades. Tony's mind's racing, replaying Father Michael's last words to him in that garden years ago. The light's in you, Tony. Don't let it go out. He didn't understand then, but now, with everything on the line, it's crystal clear. Here's the heart of it. The hooded figure steps out. A woman, eyes cold but familiar, like someone Tony's seen at galas, maybe even trusted. She calls herself the Harbinger, the Order's true leader. "You were never meant to win, Stark," she says, holding a device that could cripple the city's power grid, plunging New York into chaos. She reveals the final twist. The Order used Howard Stark's tech to build their empire, and now they'll use Tony's legacy to tear it all down. "You're just like your father," she sneers. "A tool." Those words cut deeper than any weapon. This is Tony's moment. He's tired, bruised, haunted by his dad's shadow and Father Michael's faith in him. But he's Tony Stark. He activates his suit's last reserves, repulsors glowing like fire. "You're wrong," he says, voice steady. "I'm not my father. I'm the guy who fixes things." The fight's brutal. Lasers, explosions, the cathedral shaking. But it's more than physical. It's Tony fighting for every person the Order's hurt, for Father Michael's truth, for the light he's carried through hell. He disarms the device, pins the Harbinger, and as she's dragged away by S.H.I.E.L.D., she whispers, "It's not over." But Tony knows better. It's over for her. The sun rises, streaming through the broken cathedral windows. Tony drops the pendant on the altar, a weight lifted. He thinks of Father Michael, the priest who saw a hero in a broken man. "I carried it, Father," he whispers, a tear slipping down his cheek. He walks out into the city, New York alive and unbroken, knowing he's not just Iron Man. He's the guy who kept the light alive, no matter the column. The Order's gone, but Tony's fight for truth, for hope, never will. What's a moment in your life where you had to stand up for what's right, even when it felt impossible? Share it in the comments. I'm dying to hear. This story's done, but Tony's next fight is coming. Subscribe to catch it.